heroes took to honing their expertise and preparing themselves for their deepest dive yet. Their final task before entering the Ebon Doors was to further clear the way at their backs. More narrow, natural corridors led to a dangerous, moldy slime and little reward for the danger therein. However, the final nook led them to an underground swamp, not unlike the Falkfen that surrounded the gauntlet above. Within were massive bones of a defeated black dragon and valuable Aeon stones buried within the morass. Not much further beyond, they found what could only be the hoard of a dragon, and with it, the familiar trembling of the caves came all around them.
What's up, listeners? Welcome back. Stemming the motherfucking tide, baby. This is episode 150. Who would have thought? Honestly, that shit's fucking crazy. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, that's not how this works. Go back.
You doing numbers wrong.
But if you've listened to every single episode and maybe skipped one or two because you slept through it, hey.
It happens.
What's up? Shout out. We're going to have a little trip down memory lane. Did I organize this? No.
No.
Did I tell them ahead of time? No. I'm just thinking.
The year is 150. Where were you? What were you doing?
Let's just talk about some favorite moments. Moments of the pod. Freeman, Barn, our illustrious GM. You want to kick us off?
Ooh.
What is a favorite moment that just jumps into your mind? Could be something that was said, done, something you did. I doubt it would make the list, but maybe.
I mean, the French Librarian is one of my favorite things I've ever done. Off the cuff.
Top three.
I go back and listen to it, and I can barely understand myself. And it makes me laugh. That was a good one. That was a good one. I was thinking about. I usually am thinking about deaths, character deaths, and the ceremony thereof or lack thereof. Especially when I listen to other podcasts, I always think about when there's an assumption that when a character goes down and dies, hits dying 4 or dying 5, that there's no opportunity to have that dying conversation. I think we should have more room for that. The reason I thought about that was because of how significant I think Gilda's death was in the ceremony of it. There is an unceremoniousness to pretty much all of them, but that moment, like 1 or 2 rounds before, when Gilda was very seriously considering closing the door and staying in there with Volek and letting everyone run. She didn't do that, but still was the last bastion for the escape. If not as like deliberate in that moment of James like talking meta. And that has always stood out to me as a pretty big moment in this campaign.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely beautiful. And Dunk Dog, you got a favorite moment or something funny, a little haha that you can think about?
That time Physic closed the door?
That was a good one.
Or was it, didn't Gilda close that door? Someone closed the door. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's we've had a lot of laughs around here. I honestly can't pick like a specific fight, but I'm just kind of thinking of the vibes. We had a few moments where we just kind of would start blowing through fights, and I'm trying to like recall one specifically, but they kind of don't come to mind because of how easily we'd be blowing through fights. And just like those moments of like whipping through the dungeon, through a few fights in a row, and just like finding that team cohesion was some of the highlights for me going back. I don't
moments
spend
of
much
momentum.
time. Yeah,
Good synergy,
And, like,
if you will.
Oh yeah, I remember the one of them you're talking about where we literally just bullied Freeman into giving up in the combat midway. Like he literally just said, "I don't want to do this anymore. Get me out of here."
It was
Yeah,
the room
and, like,
with the
It was
children
the
of
room we
Belphora.
couldn't get out. Yeah, Lump just
Yeah.
sat there and just fucking nope.
Just tripped everything, and then everything was rooted, and they just like they couldn't do anything. Just finish it.
That's good. I love that. Cam.
Okay, so I have a lot actually. Rough bamfing through the wall of force to
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say
Yep.
that one.
that
Now
that
you're
is that might be my favorite. Tulok kind of burying the lead of, is he gonna kill the prisoner or like cleanse affliction? And the flight of Talford was really fucking, I don't know. That one is the bastard man was real,
Yeah.
but
It's
yeah,
jaw-dropping.
that definitely had some feelings. And then my other one is near Kaj just being a fucking giant and fighting the giant spider and just
Fighting the giant
that
spider.
rolling combat of like 6 combats just rolled into one fucking thing nonstop,
Oh.
just rolling with the punches, going hard as hell. That was
Yeah,
that level was
Wow.
like
he went down in that fight too.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
huge-
like-
huge Nick went down in the game.
Like that was such a crazy fight level. Like that level was just the farm was just nonstop, just bullshit. Like
yeah.
oh,
It really was,
and
yeah.
then the death of Tulok obviously is just what the fuck. And then casting the
Yeah,
poltergeist spell was
so
pretty
sudden.
fun, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that hit some feels.
Love it. James?
Oh.
I don't really listen to this show. The one that sticks out in my mind is Gilda's death, but like that's been touched on. So one of the ones that Duncan reminded me of was a few floors up in the arena level. There was this guy in like a sauna who felt like he was just going to be this big player, the previous champion,
Yeah.
and we just wrecked him in like a round and a half. Like, and he got
yeah.
one attack off, and
He took off
I always
running.
really loved that. Yeah.
He's always making fun of us about like the stupid fucking. He's got a rune above his head and like, yeah, you ain't shit.
Yeah,
buddy.
it said Victor or something like that.
Yeah.
We kept making fun of him because that was his name, Victor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You should
Um,
call him Victor.
Yeah,
I forget what his actual name was, but
yeah. Who cares? I like that we changed Morlabin's husband's name to Kevin.
Yes.
That felt pretty good.
because Karlf is that doesn't really
Yeah,
work. with the
Karloff
list.
is such horseshit.
Yeah.
Physics death also will live rent free. Just that
Mm.
opening of the door to find his like corpse eaten
Just
by the
destroyed, by the leeches.
the
Yeah.
Vespids. Like that one will always hurt.
Mm.
And the moment Samal executed that giant frog.
Yep.
First
the
level.
Oh,
Yeah,
No, the
the
Midfoot King.
like king.
yeah.
Yeah,
Boss
Samal
Strong.
executed the Midfoot King. That was really
God
good.
damn it,
That
Boss
was
Strong.
badass.
That's what I was gonna say. I've been waiting this whole
Oh.
time.
Sorry, Scott.
It's okay.
We'll cut that. And you can
Scott
take it
said
away.
pick
No,
one,
no, that's
and
okay.
then James and Cam did what I usually do and went to town.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, it's
knows what I'm
bringing
gonna
it
do.
back, but Samal double tapping that guy instead of going for the information. I was just like, I think that if he hadn't done that, I don't think losing him would have been so painful. Because when Samal did that, I was just like, oh, this character is fucking sick. And then losing him so shortly after that was a real
Yeah.
big blow.
He's not a good person.
I think about death so much, character death so much, because I think, like, you're right. Like, there was such a badass moment. Like, Samal had badass moments in such a short time. A badass speech to Rin, absolutely murdered Boskrong without any remorse. Just old school badass came out of him, and then sudden shock value dead. And like, it was like just like physics death. It was like a horror movie moment. Like, it's so sudden, it's so brutal, and it's like, you see it happen in front of you, or you open that door, and it is like this flash of trauma in front of your eyes, and it's so jarring. And those are, I think,
That's our death of Boromir. Like, just changed
Yeah.
the arc of the story.
Hey, and
Yeah.
speaking of Sean Bean, I was about to say Ned Stark.
Oh yeah, yeah, just like Ned Stark.
And it's one that you have to relive every time a new listener gets to episode 7 and comes in like, hey, what the fuck, Freeman?
Yeah.
For real. Yeah. Every time someone's new, they're like, I just got to the part. I'm like, oh, yep. Fucked up.
Shout out to those people. They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
And
Yeah.
I want to shout out, because I don't know how much of this was Freeman or how much was real or whatever. But I think that Freeman's done so much above and beyond what is actually written in the AP. The Night of the Full Moon stands out as just a really
yeah.
exciting moment in the campaign.
Yeah.
And so just, we give Barn a lot of shit and tell him to fuck himself pretty often. But shout out to Freeman for 150 solid episodes and a lot of fun. So
Well,
in continuing with that,
130 solid episodes.
Probably the best thing I've ever done on this show was kill Ruff off screen. Because
you son
not
of a
only
bitch.
did it rock everyone's world, but it ended up creating probably one of the coolest characters I've ever had at my table.
And he's still my least favorite character that I've played in this campaign.
He's by far my favorite that you've played.
Okay.
By far.
Man, I still stand Gilda pretty hard. I miss her.
I love Ruff
Yeah.
Vashaika. So good.
Well, speaking of good moments, let's go make some more, guys. Let's go make some more, y'all.
That is a segue fitting our 150.
Episode 150. Perhaps there's 150 coins on the floor here. I don't know. Because you've entered this little cavern with a pile of gold and silver and copper and various bits of equipment. A venerable hoard, shall we say? As the cave starts, I said cave weird again. I did that last episode.
Now it's canon.
As the cave begins to shake, you are all put off your balance just slightly as the massive face of an adamantine dragon pulls out of the wall yet again. Just turn the token around. It looks like a giant bat stuck in the wall. Let's fix this a bit. Let's just go here. Here we go. Barrel peeked in first, but you see this big head like stick out of the wall, and this like hot breath like fill this small room. And is this the first time Barrel's encountered?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lump was there last time. Okay, Barrel, what do you do? Oh my god.
Yeah, guys, I think your papa is over here. Do you want to come say hello to your papa?
Papa. Oh, it's you.
Oh, it's
Did you get those cigarettes?
All of the stores close so early in Otari.
So this big dragon head pokes out of the wall. Barrel rushes near Kaj up to the front, and these glinting, small, beady eyes and this like massive rock and metal covered figure stare you down, Nick.
Little Scion, you have finally come.
I have, if somewhat inadvertently. Nice place you've got here.
Pride from the wretched claws of a black dragon.
Ask him if we can have it.
I've sent word to my people that they should be joining you here before long, but this quest isn't over. Is there anything else you might offer us on our way?
You seek more reward from your exemplar, with nary a suggestion of how your quest fares.
Well, what do you think? How am I doing?
What of this fearless ghost queen, of this wretched creature that occupies my caves?
We found a way to her, but she poses a bigger danger than ever. Not just to these caves or this place, but she may destroy everything we know.
And you walk in fear of what she may bring to this land. Do you walk in the same fear of what I bring?
I walk ever in awe of your power. But I also walk with purpose. There is a threat right now. It threatens not just you or my people, or our people. Your power is great, and I just ask that maybe we may draw further upon it to extinguish this threat.
Your flattery is met with your resolve. You will be great in your worship. You may partake only little from my hoard. For when your quest is complete, and you have delivered these cavernous vaults unto me, and the remainder of my faithful, you will then add to the hoard, and no longer strip its valuables away.
And a long clawed arm comes out of the wall and reaches into the pile of treasure and grasps a handful and reaches it out towards you, Nick, and it just away from the treasure drops it on the ground. And there's a bunch of coins in the grasp, or in the pile that it drops off. But it seems almost like a random grab, but, you know, who are you to say? But out amongst some of the coins drops a scroll, a small medallion shaped like a shield, and a sort of preserved wing, kind of bat wing, and a runestone. And the dragon continues,
You may have this among my treasures, and no more, for you have already been gifted powerful twin weapons. And next, you report to me and enter my claimed domain. You will proffer me what I desire, or be slain upon the spot in which you stand. Is that understood, little scion?
That's understood. And he will gather everything up.
okay.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Were they speaking Draconic the whole time?
Yes, I assume so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anyone else speak Draconic yet? Does Beryl speak Draconic?
No.
Not I.
Cool.
No one raised their intelligence in the level up and then learned a new language?
I actually did, and I could have, but it didn't make sense for the character.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is there a reason we left the Ring of the Ram on Tulok's body?
I don't know if it might have ended up being sold. I don't know, because it's everyone was succeeding against the DC at a certain point.
Yeah.
It wasn't really working anymore.
Because it's like a DC 15 or something now.
I was honestly thinking of getting a greater Ring of the Ram for level 10, but okay, so we'll turn back to Beryl, who I'm sure is looking a little flummoxed at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I get my powers. He says, kind of like urging her forward.
And
And-
she steps forward.
I guess there's some explaining to do about this. But
Yeah, you'll see the dragon recede back into the wall as you leave, and you get the feeling that it's, it's always nearby, especially in this area. I'm going to add some basic coinage to your stash, by the way, just like
Some
gold.
lunch money.
few silver. Yeah, literally just some lunch money, yeah.
So there were some runes and stuff to
And
look
then
at.
we
Little
look at-
walk around money.
We could look at the items, if you want. But by all means, role play that out before we do.
so that's where I've been getting these trinkets, and I think this dragon wants some kind of due more than his treasures back at the end of this. But we've got one problem to fix at a time.
Okay.
And then he will proffer up the amulets and whatnot. Rune.
There's 3 of them.
Is it your wish, Nick, to be subservient to that dragon when we are finished? He says probably a little too loudly. Not having seen or understand how adamantine dragons work.
Yeah. Given what we've seen down here, I'm not sure willingly being subservient to another is going to be good for anyone. But again, one problem at a time.
Ruff will put his hand on Nick's shoulder, the only one in the party who's around the same height. And you are a good being, Nick, to take such a risk for the peoples of Otari and Absalom when you are not of them. This is the mark of a pure soul.
Thank you, Raphael.
The thanks is ours to bestow upon you, Nick.
I don't know if Nick would reveal it or not, but it seems to have been implied by this dragon that it's taken this area from the other dragon, the one that you found dead, is very, very strongly inclined to claim this territory, as it were. How far that territory stretches is, you really can't say.
Yeah. And I mean, Nick's little jibe of nice place you got here was kind of being like the glean of the power projection of this dragon seemed like, I'm sure it would still be a hell of a fight, but I don't think he's seeing the dragon with the same awe he did the first time it popped out of the wall. And
Right.
mixed with the sinister motives he sees coming in, and where his motivations have aligned to see, what's important to him.
But like you said, there's one problem at a time, basically. And this is the sort of thing that, like, has meta-wise, there's no real need to, or necessity to explore the full scope of what this dragon could do before you go find Belcora. It's like not at all, like, I don't want to say it's beyond the scope of the adventure, as it were, but there's no, also, like, this is not a pivotal part of the story of Abomination Vaults. But it's a cool little personal anxiety, I think, that Nick can have and decide whether or not he can, explain it or extrapolate to his comrades. And I'm sure the rest are wondering, when a dragon's nearby a town, this close to a town, that's can be worrisome. But also, what do you know? Do you have something to worry about? You really don't know.
Well, Harold might know.
I guess Harold could know. You want to roll some esoteric lore there, Harold?
Do
And
I
Ruff,
ever?
if you want to roll Arcana, you could on this particular type of dragon to understand it better.
Yeah, por qué no?
35.
32, so not that.
Oh, actually, those are both successful.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So this is an adult adamantine dragon. So it's beastly. It's beefy. It's party level +3 minimum. Unless I've decided to make it elite, then it's even more. So it would be quite the thing to try and take on. And it is a primal dragon. It is, earth based. It has a similar, breath weapon to Nirkaj. It's extremely sturdy. It's got all the trademarks of a dragon, like a draconic frenzy attack, which is devastating. It can swallow you whole. It can pick up rocks and toss them with great ease and efficiency. It can tunnel through stone, all that stuff. It's everything you'd expect. Do you guys remember when you fought the river drake and how brutal it was? Like,
Yep.
just that's dragons, baby, and they just get bigger and worse and scarier. And like a lot of people say that the design by Paizo for dragons is like despite what their creature level is, they are an amped up a version of whatever that level is. Like when their chance to hit the amount of damage they do, obviously defeatable, but like should be scary.
And remember, kids, if it can burrow through stone, it can burrow through you.
Exactly. Exactly. And what I will say is that there are versions of these dragons that eschew some typical dragon abilities for full-on spell casting as well. And that was introduced in Monster Core, I think. So all of the versions they have in there have like spell casting alternatives with like big spell lists and stuff. So I've played a little fast and loose with like the general magical ability of this dragon in particular, such as give me that spear and I'll transform it into a new spear inside my mouth, kind of thing. I just want to have a little fun with that, but yeah.
I don't think Paizo's going to call you on it.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think that's a thing they do.
Yes. They have my number? Cool. You guys hiring?
Paizo lease.
So yeah, something you don't want to trifle with for sure.
Or do we?
I don't know. I was like, I really like to trifle.
Yeah.
How much more magic is in that horde?
Harold, with your esoteric lore and your experience as a monster hunter, I'm going to give you that. It actually seems a bit odd that a black dragon would have been down here creating a nest for itself. I guess also assuming Nick mentions that the bones there were for a black dragon. A black dragon would nest in a fen or a swamp or something like that. It seems odd to be below ground as opposed to on the surface where there's a very convenient fog fen. And so it does make a little sense to you, even if it's a very rare occurrence, that an adamantine dragon would favor an underground cavernous place and happily, get into a territory war or battle of some sort and take it over.
Why do I think the black dragon's down here? Is that because of Nimbleoth or the draw of the evil down to this fen?
Could just be a pet of the Ghost Queen.
It's true.
They're only cute when they're little.
Also true.
That's a black dragon, by the way.
No, that's pretty cute.
It's tight as hell. It's also purple.
There is a purplish hue to it, yes.
All right.
What do you guys do? I'll tell you right now that the other branching tunnels you have ahead of you are go into the Darklands and are, in fact, beyond the scope of this adventure.
Well, Let's turn on back here. I don't see much progress there.
And start identifying.
Oh yeah, identify some of those items.
Okay.
While you're traveling
I was
along.
about to ask. I was like, did I just
Yeah.
space cadet my way through
let's-
that? Like,
No. Let's get out of the mud. This tunnel
Yeah.
too, the southern one is Darklands.
Yeah. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. So let's just get out of the mud.
We could assume you
And,
wasted an hour or two realizing it, and then make your way back. Just because you're covering your tracks and your backs.
Don't play my character.
Yeah.
I spent 2 hours.
Rough. I think I can tell you what's on this scroll right away.
Yeah, hurry up. I want to fight something.
Actually, no, I can't. It's not in your tradition. Thought it was.
May have been once upon a time.
May have been once upon a time. So I have to roll to see what that one is. Otherwise, yeah, I've got this sort of like preserved batwing, a little iron medallion shaped like a shield, and a runestone.
I rolled 37 on the runestone, 27 and 25 on the others.
The iron medallion, it's called an iron medallion. It's a talisman. It's a level 10 talisman. You affix to your armor as a free action when you attempt a will save against a fear effect, but you haven't rolled yet. You can activate it. And you also need to be master proficiency in will saves or have the bravery class feature. So there's a few requirements on this. I'll throw it in the stash real quick. Basically, when you activate it, you gain a +2 status bonus against fear for 1 minute. On the triggering save, if the outcome of your roll is a failure, you get a success instead. Or if the outcome is a critical failure, you get a failure instead. So you can shirk off a fear effect pretty quickly with that one-time use.
Pushes it over to Nick.
Is Nick? I think it's just me. isn't it?
Bravery.
Bravery.
Oh,
class feature.
yeah.
Mm.
Nick take.
Nick. The other one is called a mummified bat, or mummified bat wing, I guess. Oh no, I guess it's a full bat. I read it wrong. It's the magically treated corpse of a tiny bat that's actually bound in papyrus. When you activate the bat, it's affixed to a weapon. One action command. You have to be a master in perception for this. Fixed weapon detects vibrations around you and guides your perception. You gain the benefits of the fighter blind fight class feat for 1 minute.
What's going on, James?
That's pretty sick for maybe the
Yeah.
goofiest shit I've ever
Yeah.
heard in my
Oh,
life.
like,
I'm just
a
gonna
mummified
tie a
tiny bat?
mummified bat to my axe or to my sword. Just swing it around. Like that's not gonna fuck up the weight distribution at all. Just the dumbest shit.
In addition, if you happen to already have the blind fight feat, you gain imprecise echolocation with a range of 30 feet for 1 minute.
That's pretty cool.
This makes creatures that you would be undetected by you because you can't see hidden instead of So it's pretty cool. So a couple of those in there. Someone want to roll on the scroll real quick.
37.
It is a scroll of Spirit Blast,
I am not familiar with that spell.
which is divine and occult.
Oh, neat.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. It's it's a 6th level spell, so it's
16d6 spirit damage.
Yeah,
God,
it's,
God bless.
it's a pretty beefy attack. Yeah,
Kushtaka
I
relic.
don't remember the rules in trying to activate that when it's not on your spell lists or your spell tradition. But
Trick magic item.
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone has that or not, but
I almost took that, but I took tame animal
quite
instead.
valuable.
I told Scoot to take it because, like, thaumaturge.
Scroll thaumaturgy is actually a really
Powerful.
cool thing too.
Yeah.
It's like a thing you can get into. Yeah,
But Scoot
it's really
had a
good.
better concept.
Scoot just wanted to look in the mirror a bunch. That's
Gaze
way more
Yeah,
poignantly.
and the talisman thing was just too much thinking.
That's fair.
Isn't that what you use? Talismans?
Well, there's a talisman dabbler that gives you like talismans every day. You can pick like 2 or 3 or something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, these are
Talisman.
implements. Anywho,
And did we identify the rune?
You did.
rune for James.
I'd be
Rune for James.
Perfectly honest, I don't have a specific rune for this.
Oh,
But other than that, I was planning for it to be a property rune. So
You need to pick one and then lie to the audience.
We can have fun with it instead. Pick one and then lie to the audience. Oh my god! It is a level 20
Mythic rune.
like an impossible rune. Yeah.
And it's got Ruff's name on it. What a coincidence.
James is the one likely to use it, but anyone can throw out what they think would be good options, and we'll roll to see which one it is.
Impossible seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, I bet it does.
What about Vorpal? How does that feel?
Oh, yeah. Hang
Vorpal,
on.
yeah,
Hold
sure.
on.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and level cap this.
Oh, okay.
Mythic
Okay,
striking.
okay.
You guys got a lot of really high level stuff in the last little bit. So let's.
Keen would be pretty swell. I wouldn't say no to Keen.
You wouldn't say no to a keen weapon.
Yeah,
Conducting.
Keen's 13.
Oh, we're not going that high. Sorry.
Conducting suits the maggots. Can channel energy through it. The weapon gains the resonant weapon trait. Except that when you conduct energy, the weapon deals an additional 1d8 of the selected type instead of one additional. Wait, maybe this is connected to something else.
Invisibility
Yeah,
greater.
I somewhat know this one. So the resonant weapon trait, gives you the conduct energy free action when wielding the resonant weapon. And the conduct energy action is the last action or spell this turn had the acid, cold, electricity, fire, or sonic trait. You can free action channel that damage type.
Yeah.
Into
So when you
your
spell
weapon,
strike, you get an extra
it's
1d8.
very, very Magus-esque. Yeah, you could start kind of like changing up. Like you can have your arcane cascade damage one thing, and then your resonant weapon, conducting weapon, can be something else, and you can kind of like spread it out.
I got a cool
We
one.
could just go impactful.
We could conduct. I think conducting is good. We can throw that in the pile. What'd you say? Impactful?
Yeah.
Which one's that?
It's 10th level. Rune deals an additional 1d6 force damage, and on a crit, DC 27 or 5-foot push.
Okay. Oh, force damage. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's pretty good. Okay, we'll throw it in the pile, but everything's gonna be lower level than that though. Scott, you got one?
Astral is pretty good.
Okay, well, I'm tossing out one that's a level 9. You know?
Okay,
Something a little bit more manageable. Extending.
Extending is a good one. Extending one. It's a 2 action.
Extend your weapon,
But it's a 60-foot reach. Yeah.
60 feet.
Yeah, that's wild. You gain a possibility. You strike with the weapon, and you have a 60-foot for the strike. Okay, yeah.
I could never combo it with spell strike, so like there's a pretty good built-in nerf to that one.
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's a really tight action economy on that, so it's extremely useful. But yeah, you're not going to be able to combo it with like. But if you get your damage types up and stuff and varied, you could take advantage of that. So yeah, we can throw that in the pile. So we've got 3 in the pile: conducting, extending, and impactful. Dunk, do you have any ideas?
I'm sure that if I did, they would only make the pool worse. So I'm just going to say
that's okay. Right now, the pool is really good. So
Welcome to my
exactly.
party.
I don't want to
gotta
muddy
have a
this
shitty
pool.
one in there.
Pontoon.
Shifting again.
Shifting again, double shifting rune. Pacifying? No, I wouldn't force that on you. I'll tell you what. Thematically, we'll add in a ghost touch rune. It's a way lower level, but it still could be very useful.
Could we add in astral instead?
Maybe.
So astral has the ghost touch rune, but it also deals 1d6 spirit.
Oh yeah, I think this is a newer one from the GM core. Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll add astral into the pile. Okay. Oh, it's a good pile. It's a real good pile.
Yeah, that's a quality pile.
Okay.
One of these days I'll get a
this
pile.
is exciting.
I wish Tulok had bitter.
You already played a pile as a character.
Yeah, and I still never got anything in a pile.
You got the joy of playing Lump.
You put quite a few enemies into a pile.
I did, but
I'd say there were plenty of doggy piles, I think.
I didn't know they piled shit that high.
Okay, I'm gonna roll a d4. On a 1, you'll get the astral rune. Write this down, please. On a 2, you'll get the conducting rune. On a 3, you'll get the, what was the one Scott suggested?
Extending.
Extending rune. And then on a 4, you get whatever the other awesome one was.
Impactful.
The one I want.
Yeah, but now I don't want him to get the one that I got because it was immediately shitteth upon.
No,
for good
it's,
reason.
it's
good.
still
It's
really
very
good. I just can't combo it with Spellstrike. Like, that's still amazing.
It's still really good. Okay, got them written down? So I forgot them already.
It's in the chat.
I'm rolling publicly. Oh, it's in the chat. Thank you. And go. Conducting.
Sick.
It's wicked thematic. I'm pretty happy with that. You have a
Sorry,
runestone for the
James.
conducting rune.
No, it's cool. I got to read it. I wasn't listening. I was too busy looking at other runes.
Okay.
But I'm
it's
sure
gonna
it's
make your life a little
fantastic.
more complicated, but you'll pick it up.
It doesn't make
Yeah.
it more complicated. Literally, like as a free action,
kind of already doing it.
you basically just get to add an extra D8 of the selected type instead of 1 additional damage per die.
Oh.
And you get a +1 knowledge bonus to checks against trains.
Yeah.
Nice.
God damn it.
Son of a bitch, you did it again.
Oh, the worst. The absolute worst.
Yeah, give me a hero point, Freeman.
Yeah, you can have one. You can have your point for that. Holy shit.
No, I won't get the 1d8. I will only get 1 because my weapon doesn't have the resonant trait already. So it'll just be 1 damage, 1 extra damage.
No, because the weapon gains the resonant trait, except that when you conduct energy, the weapon deals an additional 1d8 of the select type instead of 1 additional damage per die.
Yeah, that's right on the rune. Yeah.
If the weapon already had the resonant trait, it deals 1d8
Plus
instead of
1 damage per die.
Is the end of that sentence.
If the weapon already had,
Oh.
it deals 1d8 plus 1 damage per die instead of just 1d8.
Instead of, so it's normally 1.
Okay.
Resonant weapon gets 1 extra damage. The rune gives you 1d8, and if it already had resonant, you would do 1d8 plus 1. You'd combine
Got it.
instead of replacing
That's fucking complicated. But
It's a little complicated.
I'll pick it up when we can install it. Yeah.
It's 1d8 flat. Call it a day. Very good. Pretty sweet. What's the plan?
I want to get in a tussle.
Yeah, let's roll.
Have we, GM, sir, just because the fog of war resets itself, have we explored everywhere but the doors?
Have you explored everywhere but the doors? Yes. Yes.
What about the Erdifon area that's south of the chiming crystals?
Technically, yeah. So that just leads to that was like one of the entrances to the area that you originally fought. The only place you haven't really explored is deeper into the Erdifon camp. But you have little reason to go there other than should you go on an assault with the Drow. I'm not going to say there's nothing in there.
Okay, so the Drow haven't attacked them yet.
They haven't attacked them yet. No. They're still waiting on the reinforcements to arrive. They've been given permission, but they're they're cautioned to wait for reinforcements because they lost a lot of dudes.
Now, what do y'all think here? I don't know if we should go try them Erdifon again. Personally, I'm thinking we look at these doors. How about y'all?
It couldn't hurt to touch base with the Drow, finish up any remaining business we have here before entering the doors. I want you guys to get the impression that Ruff is very concerned about entering these doors. Like, the age of them, how hard it was to get the key, the fact that you still need 2 lenses, they don't know where Volok is. Like, you would get the impression that he's dragging his feet about this for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very not like James to shy away from a fight, so must be something.
And I think it it stands out more because it wasn't all that long ago. It was less than a week ago that you talked to the drow, and the drow said, we're still waiting for now. Keep going, but we're happy to have you, but also like, don't worry about it. So you have touched base because you just had a bunch of downtime, right? You've touched based, and not adventured much since. So
Harold takes a knee in front of Ruff. Now I understand your trepidation. You're worried about what's behind them doors. And so am I. But you look around at us and our companions here. We all got each other's backs. Am I right, Beryl? Am I right, Nick? We're in this together.
Of course. Without any trepidation, I am looking forward to seeing what is behind those doors so that we can finish this. Just letting it rest on our minds will not make it any easier. And I know you know this, but she just kind of reaches down and pets Inoki. I am here to help in whatever way I can.
I'm ready. I think we should all feel ready before we move forward, but I'm ready.
I don't know if I'm ready to lose more friends to these fights.
I understand. I'm a newcomer to this group, but we're gonna lose a whole lot more if we don't go through them doors and find out what's beneath us, beneath the town we love.
You are right. And he'll pull out the giant nimbly key to the doors, I suppose.
all right, so you head for the strange ebon doors. Perhaps Ruff, I'm sure we've touched on it before, but there's got to be this sort of like dichotomy within you. Obviously, Ruff doesn't want to go, doesn't want this to end, doesn't want to see anyone die. But like, there's this personal fear of knowing that the mission will be done, and then it is done. His role is done in a much more metaphysical way. But then there's also this lingering, like once you just recently got all that information from everyone studying the library and everything that Morlabent told you, there is this heaviness to the responsibility of the Shaika. Like I've said before, the Shaika's role is to try and guide everything to the best possible destructive end. And surely the oblivion of souls en masse at the hand of a dread god like Nimbeloth is not that direction. And so it really needs to stop before that opportunity comes about.
Yeah, you nailed it. He's feeling the pull for sure. Like every bone in his body is telling him that they need to open these doors. But
yeah,
Ruff as a being is thinks that this is the beginning of the end, and he's just starting to enjoy. I don't want to say life, but you get where I'm going with it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
existence. He's found friends. He tried not to make friends. He just tried to be with these people and run this journey with them. But
play the role. But yeah, it's not as easy as all that. Yeah,
it's definitely not. So.
I like that idea because it makes the Shaika an imperfect vessel for the role that it has to, the important role that it has to play.
Yeah, I think it should be an imperfect vessel.
Yeah,
and
I dig it.
Also, need to make sure that you have time to do what you need to do because your notes said unfinished biz. So trying to figure out what that incognito thing meant.
Don't overthink it. You go to the ebon doors and you produce the nimbly key, as you called it, and cracked me up. Yeah, so these ebon doors, these massive black and green stone doors with this lock, this complicated lock, no handles on the doors. The lock is an oxidized sort of bronze. You approach these doors made of some sort of ancient stone that it feels beyond recognition. I remember saying, I think, that you noted that this went back to the time of the Age of Serpents.
Yep.
You unlock the door?
Yep. He'll insert the skull-shaped key, and with one last look over his shoulder, he'll turn it.
Chunk chunk. It turns the tumblers in the lock, and the doors are free to be pushed open.
I don't know why, but when Ruff said that he turns backward and looks, I just imagined Inoki just sitting there panting like a dog, just like completely lost in the sauce of what we're doing here.
Love it.
Ruff will push open one of the doors and step through the threshold.
You step through the threshold and find yourself on a short but wide hallway that is has several alcoves with sort of statues, old jade-colored statues within. They all appear to be, at a glance, defiled in some way. You notice right away that stepping in here, the floor is like a similar color and texture to the doors. And it actually is really difficult to see the floor. It's difficult to see where the floor meets the wall, like that corner, that right angle that you would expect. It's hard to spot that. It's hard to see where everything connects. Even the light from your spell or a torch doesn't seem to reflect the most appropriate way to really show you the nooks and crannies and angles of this place. And it is off-putting, almost unbalancing for you to stride across this surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's this color called like Black 2.0. It's blacker than Vanta Black.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a room of it. And
way.
like apparently when you go inside the room, like you just feel existential dread no matter what, because it's so dark.
Oh, that's crazy.
So that's kind of what I'm picturing is like it's
sure.
so dark.
That's great.
Just this
Yeah.
this underlying feeling of fear, you know. The
Yeah.
fur on the back of Ruff's neck is like straight up.
Oh, yeah. You are stepping into something ancient and, as far as you know, built to worship something extraordinarily dark. Metaphorically dark. You step in, this unsettling experience comes over you. You notice that of all the statues that are here, not a single one has its head remaining. Most are, in fact, missing their hands. In fact, one of them is only a couple of bare feet carved left. It is all destroyed and defiled. Straight ahead of you, at the end of this sort of procession, in a way, is an enormous stone throne that has been carved out of heavy blocks, and stands within a sort of domed chamber. And you can just barely spot something sitting on said throne.
I'm just going to hop in here real quick. So Beryl and Ruff had slightly started to move ahead. And right before Nick and Harold move into the room, Harold just kind of squats down right beside Nick and puts a hand in front of him and says, "Hold on a second, Nick. I'm meaning to give you something." And he pulls off of his pinky this ring. And it's just a rough, non-shiny silver ring with what looks like a piece of rough volcanic stone in it. And he pulls it off of his pinky and slides it onto Nick's. Well, it's big for Nick, so it would be on his pointer finger or maybe his thumb. I had this for quite some time. It's been on many journeys with me. I've always felt like it was some sort of good luck charm. And you know, being a frontline fighter like myself, I thought that maybe it just might bring you a little bit of luck, a little bit of advantage going forward. So I just want you to have this. And what this is my new feat. So it's called Share Weakness. And essentially, when I'm exploiting a creature's vulnerability using mortal weakness, so not always, but when I use the specific weakness, I can grant an ally. Well, let me just read it. You select an object from your esoterica that has great personal value to you, such as a locket or a treasured ring, and you grant it to an ally, establishing a personal link that allows your ally to affect an enemy as if they were you. The ally's strikes apply the weakness from your mortal weakness the same as your strikes do. This benefit ends when your exploit vulnerability ends or you share weakness again. So when I exploit vulnerability, I can share that weakness with Nick.
That's awesome.
Good. But it's got to be mortal weakness, not
Yes.
personal antithesis.
Correct.
All right. That is so fucking cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit extra paperwork, but I'll do my best to keep Nick honest and keep you updated with that. But just
Hell yeah.
All right.
anyways,
Thank you, Harold. I've long coveted your pinky ring, and I feel like we have a connection that we didn't share before.
that's right, little buddy. I appreciate you having my back out there. I'll do my best to keep yours as well.
I think we're both gonna need it, and he will step in.
Awesome. Scoot, you can go ahead and have a hero point for making that a scene. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I pulled up both of your inventories. I was expecting to drag a ring from your inventories. I thought you had some reason. I was like, nope. That's awesome. Okay. Stepping into this room and hall, everyone enters, and Ruff slowly taking the lead, stepping forward towards this stone throne. You see upon the throne a skeleton that appears to be it looks like it's like wrapped in not like totally wrapped up. It has like different little tassels and stuff on it. How do I describe this? Like little, there's like some bits of like fabric wrapped around its like legs and arms, but not like a full dress. And there's like a couple like kind of talisman like things. I'll show you. I might as well just show you a picture. It looks like this.
Oh. You know who loved a tassel? Tulok.
Yeah.
Loved a
Really
good
respect the
tassel.
tassel.
Yeah. Yeah.
He would desecrate the hell out of that skeleton.
Probably even more fringe.
Yeah,
sometimes.
this is ornate. This is symmetrical. This is ritualistic for sure.
It is exactly. Yeah, it's very ritualistic.
It's almost looks like it's not ribbons, like it's moss, or like
yeah, they are
plant
green.
matter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the way some of the strings are drawn too, like it yeah. Huh, yeah, definitely ritualistic for sure. Lore Nimbly Bimbly?
Yes. Lore Nimbly Bimbly.
It's a 32.
32. You aren't sure what this is exactly, but shoot. What can I do here? 32 is pretty good.
He's also taking the detect magic exploration activity, if that
Sure.
helps.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I'll tell you what. I will give you a bit. This creature, and yes, you realize that it's a creature. It's not just a skeleton sitting on a stone throne. There's something about this that strikes you, and you're quite sure that it is something distantly related to what are known as lesser deaths, who in turn are known to serve the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it when Cam gets worried.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And for reasons long lost, but somehow are intrinsically in your memory through the Shaika, this creature is irrevocably tied to Nimbaloth, this particular distant relative of Lesser Deaths. And you know that it is called Lady's Whisper.
Lady's Whisper. And he'll like throw his arms out to the side to halt everyone without taking his eyes off the thing sitting on the throne. On that throne, it is a ritualistic being. There is something about it, something in relation to the Lesser Death, but it is undoubtedly directly tied to the deity Nimbaloth. I suspect this is our guardian to the temple. This will not be an easy encounter, I would imagine. But I don't know too much about the Lesser Death.
If this is an actual Lesser Death, this game is bullshit.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Lesser Deaths are absurd.
Yeah, this is a TPK. Like, we're clearly not meant to fight if this is actually a Lesser Death. So, can you tell me anything about the alcoves around us, Freeman? I think I might have missed some of the...
They are just crumbled statues.
Okay, I just saw some footprints in
Destroyed
some of the
statues,
artwork,
that's
so I was curious if there's anything more interesting going on. Okay.
Oh no, those are literally like stone feet left behind or crumbled away or something. So
I don't want to take away from the moment here, but I can't move on without saying I burst out laughing when Ruff stops and throws his hands out and just like probably hits
Shins,
Harold in
yeah.
the shins and like sacks Nick.
Just taps him.
one arm in the shins, one arm in the cloaca. Ba-bam!
Pommel him.
Oh,
Oh no! Oh no!
Anyway, sorry to kill the vibe.
That's so good. Oh, I love it because I was picturing like a cape wave to like something really dramatic, like halt everyone, flappity flap flap flap.
I would like to try something, if it would not be too sacrilegious for those in the party.
all right.
And he starts digging around to try and find their copy of the Whispering Reeds.
Okay.
I am not particularly religious, so go off, King.
He will sheath his sword in its dimensional sheath, and holding the book in front of him, will slowly approach the Lady's Whisper.
Okay. As you slowly approach, you get closer and closer to this throne. Once you get, probably a good, 15, 20 feet away, this skeleton just slowly begins to rise up from its seated position. And it rises with both hands held forth in what appears to be a sort of gesture of peace. Not quite welcome, but like you are welcome. And without even a whisper, just points one hand towards the single door you see right here to your right, to the west. So as you step forward too, you've noticed that there are double doors to the east and west as well, and then there's this one single door next to the western doors as well. Deliberately points a bony finger towards that single door. Ruff, I want you to roll me Abomination Vault's lore, but if you roll really badly, there's going to be repercussions.
Okay. Abomination Vault's lore. With Turn Black, the clock ready. That is not great, but it's not bad. That's a 30 for a 12 on the die.
I'll tell you what. You can still decide to reroll it, but what I'm going for right here is you're rolling Abomination Vault's lore, but you're suddenly pushing through the knowledge and the psyche, or the shared collective psyche of the Shika, to go beyond what the Abomination Vaults are. The Abomination Vaults are Belcora's. This was here before her. You're trying to use that avenue of knowledge in your mind that was granted you by the Shika to go further and beyond what Belcora knew and understand what this place is and what it does and why it's here, what this creature needs, why this process is about to happen, why it's pointing at this door.
Okay. I'm guessing I didn't fail, but I can go for broke is the way it sounds like. Because the trigger for let's try that again is specifically a failed skill check.
Okay, is it? Okay. Yeah, in that case,
Yeah.
you did not fail.
Yeah.
So I'll just give you, unless you want to hero point it.
Well, what do y'all think? Should I pop a hero point? Like 12 on the dice is not bad. I don't think I'm gonna roll too much better.
If hero points didn't mean you had to take lower, like if you rolled a nat 1 next turn, now you've fucked the pooch. So
Right.
No, you really fucked it.
take
yeah.
your success, pat yourself on the back, and I would just keep it pushing.
And hope you get a crit success on the next one, because I will have more of these for you.
Okay. Yeah, let's roll. Let's roll with the 12
Okay.
for a total of 30.
Okay. So you suddenly realize that where you've just walked into is a place in which supplicants might be the right word, hopefuls to join a coven of worshipers would come here to be judged worthy.
Ooh.
And part of that judgment is to be tested. And you get the feeling that this Lady's Whisper, that's the role it plays. That's what it's here.
Like a piss test?
You don't have to go swinging at it. Maybe, I mean, you can. I have a step lock. Oh my God. But, yeah, you can also go through the motions and try and understand this place.
Yeah, he's not even gonna mention any of that to the group yet. He's just gonna go to the door the lesser death pointed at, and it's this door, right?
Yep.
And swing it open. This way.
You swing open the door, and you find yourself in a much more cramped hallway made of the same dark stone as the rest of the temple. It's very cramped, and it's really hard to see where you're going. And you can just barely make out that a short distance ahead, it opens up into a smaller chamber. You cannot see anything of note within.
Harold is looking for traps.
At this point, Ruff will explain what he knows about the lesser death. He didn't, in his mind, his gambit, holding up the whispering reeds worked. He's not unsure that this would have gone, or he's not sure this would have gone a different way had he come up with his weapon. So he's telling them that the gambit worked and they're being tested to become acolytes of Nimbleoth, and that we should just do the test because fighting that thing is essentially a death sentence.
Okay. Okay, so you step through this hallway. You're heading towards this small chamber that it opens up into. Harold, you're checking for traps. Want to roll me a perception check?
Boy, howdy. Yuck. 22.
It's hard to see in here. It's really hard to see. Anyone else taking any other actions as you walk through?
Next scouting.
Ruff is keeping that detect magic going.
Okay. You detect magic. Kind of all around this chamber, actually, Ruff.
Is it the stone itself? I feel like we ruled that out already when we were at the doors.
No, it doesn't seem to be the stone itself. Peril?
I was just swapping between raised shield and seeking.
Okay. Do you want to roll me a perception check
Sure.
as well, then?
I'll throw you one. 37?
Beryl, you instinctually call out at the back for everyone to stop.
Hold. I don't like the look at that.
What?
Wow, what the fuck?
Everyone looking around like, look of what? Look of what? What the hell? And Ruff, you stop just in time to feel the tips of your toes go over an edge
Oh God.
that goes deep, deep down. You can't see it. You absolutely cannot see it. But something hit the light or the stone or something in such a way that Beryl caught it with her greater dark vision, and
Dwarf.
you realize that you are on the cusp of a bottomless pit, a magical trap.
Ruff was one bean away from flying.
Yeah. Should you have fallen, you would have been able to try to grab an edge, but effectively, it's a magical trap, and if you fall in, you just keep falling,
Until you starve.
like, forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
It is a very deep hole, apparently. Thank you very much, Barrow.
Of course.
Was that the test?
I don't know. I don't see anything else in here. There is magic kind of all along the walls. Perhaps something in Infernal Braille. Does anyone still speak Infernal Braille?
I
Did
don't think
anyone
you
ever-
speak Infernal Braille so
I don't
much
think you
as read it?
speak Braille.
I'm kind of in the middle of something.
I'm sorry.
So he'll find the spot that's emanating magic closest to him and just start touching shit.
It's the whole pit, the whole thing.
Oh,
That's-
that's the pit.
That's
Okay.
how you know it's bottomless. It's magical in nature. Yeah.
Maybe it's like that library in Absalom, and he just shoves.
Inoki down the hole.
See ya.
I keep picturing Temple of Doom with the leap of faith.
Oh yeah. No, that was
Or not Temple of Doom, Last Crusade.
Last Crusade. Yeah.
Well,
You got any dust?
you got a coin?
I do actually have dust.
Here, yeah, take a coin.
Just dump your dust.
Barrel's just gonna grab
whatever tiny disappears.
Barrel's gonna grab a copper coin and cast light on it and toss it down the hole. Just see what happens.
And down it goes. Vanishes really quickly. No sound.
Okay, it even affects inanimate objects. This is a very, very powerful spell.
We should go back, perhaps. I think.
Barrel's just like poking her head out of the. Yeah, this the right way? Just like looking over at the lesser death.
I'll go towards the nothing.
One might assume that discovering this and not falling in is a test passed.
Yeah.
That's where Ruff is right now, but
Yeah.
he's yeah.
I think for the sake of what I'm making Ruff do here with his Abomination of Valslor, I'd say you make that assumption pretty safely.
Harold steps out and looks at the whispering death or whatever and says, "A good one."
It's standing there like away from the throne now, waiting for you all to kind of pile out by the door. It just stands there idle and silent and still. And then just points a hand at the nearest double doors.
Is that 2 doors down there or those double doors?
Don't you start with me, Scott.
Because we went through double doors to get here.
Yeah, you've gone through many double doors in this adventure. I don't know why I have to keep reminding you.
So which way is it?
Yeah, the nearest one's it's right there.
Nearest to whom? And Harold opens one.
To you. Nearest to the farther end of the room.
Rattled by the door talk, Harold just opens one.
There's never been one for a threshold. Really.
My threshold for thresholds is getting fucked.
Don't ever show him Zarmavdian's book, The Thresholds of Truth. It'll really rattle his cage. Okay, so you head over to the other double doors, crack them open. They lead into a hallway that turns to the south and opens to another chamber. This time it's a sort of almost octagonal chamber, and the room is filled with foul smelling of a swamp and there are weeds and everything growing all over the walls along this hallway and in the chamber. Ruff, roll me an Abomination Vaults lore.
A-bomb, you say. 34.
34. You feel like this is a room in which those who wanted to go through this sort of initiation process, they might have been sent here if they were found wanting by the Lady's Whisper, which seems counterintuitive or counter to what you seem to have just succeeded a test. Why would you be sent here? Maybe there's more to it.
We'll step into the room.
Step into the room. You can see that there's like little sort of pools of fetid water on either side of the room where a lot of the vegetation is growing, little blighted lily pads and stuff, and the smell is pretty rank, but not enough to make you keel over. No sickened conditions today. And kind of looking around this room, roll me a perception check.
That's another 34.
Jeez.
Natural 20 for a 39.
You're doing all right. Ooh, boy.
My dice finally showed up.
I got a 29, so I'll shut up.
Okay, good job. Ruff, you're looking around and you know your hackles are raised. You're on the edge of your seat, as it were, with this whole area, and there's this instinct that kicks over, like something is near you, something is nearby, and but Beryl spots it first as this fanged, like skull shape, sort of starts to materialize almost right next to you, in this like ghastly, wispy form. It looks a little something like that.
Is that a saber-toothed will-o-wisp?
Yeah, we never learned about this wisp.
Yeah, it's like a baboon skull.
You sure?
Why did we stop doing
and
that?
This thing just like suddenly appears next to Ruff, and there is this like dread flickering light that illuminates this room in a way that your other lights just can't seem to do. And that's what we're going to call it.
Boo!
Oh.
Happy 150, you scumbag barn.
Yeah.
Welcome to the temple and chapter 10. Stemming the Tide is an actual play podcast of the Adventure Path Abomination Vaults and is produced by the Uncharted North Network. Stemming the Tide uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Stemming the Tide is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Music is composed by Will Savino and artwork by Greyhood. Stemming the Tide is recorded remotely using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. If you wish to connect with us or support this project and projects to come, we can be found at unchartednorth.ca, patreon.com/unchartednorth, and on all major social media platforms. Links to all credits can be found in the episode description and our website. Thanks for tuning in.